Why can I not hear anything? Hello? What the fuck? What?
With people until it's time.
Always, really, but nobody was worried because I was a really gifted student, to the point where when I first sought a diagnosis, I went to our pediatrician and he was like, okay, how does she do in school? And I was like, well, she gets straight A's, she's a gifted student. And he was like, she can't have ADHD. And that was
whoa, that's fucking mean, bro. Fuck
thinking
you.
at the time, and it's still the thinking.
She can't have ADHD.
But the truth is,
so basically, that guy's basically saying people with lower grades are stupid. I mean, people with ADHD are stupid.
Exhibited symptoms.
Can you explain how your day might differ from someone who doesn't have ADHD?
So when I wake up in the morning, I am trying to think about everything that I need to do for the next couple of days and then attempt to do it all at once. And generally what ends up happening is it gets overwhelming, and then I will kind of not really do anything with my day because I'm trying to do too much.
So it's kind of like you can't compartmentalize, like, this is something that I could do this hour,
Sometimes
this is something I could do this hour.
You think of it at the start, like, oh shit, I need to do this and this and this and this. But then at the end, you just forget. You actually forget about all the shit you just listed without listening. I never used to list on notepads because I ain't no nerd. But you know.
Of everything you have to do, and then you can't stop thinking about how you have to do all of it at once.
Or if there's like a specific thing that's distracting you
Finish
and
the
you
story.
go down that rabbit hole, because you can either be focused on many things or you can be hyper-focused on.
Bro, y'all think Healthy Gamer is gonna fucking give me a powder mixed with tea and fucking everything and I drink it and I'll be fine? No! Absolutely not.
One thing, which may not be the most productive thing.
Can you recall any big moments in your life that were clearly shaped by having ADHD?
Actually, you know what, bro? I might, I could. I would want to see what he could do. You know, I'd want to see what he could do. You know, what's going on Healthy Game. You know, shout out to my boy Healthies. You know, so I got ADHD and I'm fucked in the head. Can you help me? No. All right.
I went to go get a job once, like a proper office job selling copiers. I was really excited because they loved me.
But there's one thing about me, chat. There's one thing. There's one big thing about me. When I'm on the show, I guarantee I'll speak about my past, and I get emotional. I'm an emotional guy about my past, bro. And when I'm talking about my past, it can be family shit, and I know I'll bring it up, bro. I know I'll bring it up. I swear, it will just come up. Like, yo, you know, my dad and shit. And then it'll be hard, but it'll be hard. That's the hardest thing to handle, bro. So I don't want to, you know, I feel like going on the show is just to entertain people. That's it. People love to entertain, hear people's lives. It don't matter, bro.
They were so cool, and I am such an office supply nerd, as a lot of people with ADHD are, because we're constantly trying to organize ourselves. And they offered me the position, and they were clearing out a desk for me, and they ran a background check, and I was like, I'm fine. Like, I was never an external troublemaker. All my issues were internal for the most part. So I was like, that's great. And they were like, well, no. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like,
at least she can fucking speak,
unlike suspended? Your driver's license? And I was like, no, I did not. It turned out the reason why my driver's license was suspended was because I had a broken taillight and I got a fix-it ticket. So I went and fixed it. But I forgot a step. I forgot the step of showing them that I had fixed it. And so they didn't know I fixed it. I didn't get that resolved. I wasn't opening my mail because it was under a pile of a lot of other mail. And I explained it to them and I was like, okay, can we get this sorted out? And they're like,
finish the science story? Wait, you guys didn't hear it? Oh, basically, I was in my science class, and my teacher said, "I'll give you 1 week. I'll give you 1 week to yo, Joshua, what's up, bro? I love you, man. Thank you for the 4 months, man. You're a good guy, man. You're a good guy, man. I appreciate it, bro. I love you, man." The teacher said, "I'll give you 1 week, and I'll move you up to a higher set." And me, my stupid ass, I couldn't handle my ADHD, so I stayed in the same set. She never let me go down, because I failed. It was just easy. She just said, listen to me, sit down, and write down the things I tell you to do. Set is like I don't fucking know. Set's like, the lower set you're in, the harder the work you do.
You could, but you'd be driving a company car. We have a policy that if your license was suspended for any reason, you can't drive a company car. I'm so sorry. And I was heartbroken. But now it makes sense,
right,
why all of that happened, and why I got so many parking tickets, and why I got towed so many times, and why I jumped into relationships that weren't good for me and ended up getting divorced, why I chased so many careers that I couldn't actually make progress in any of them. This all makes sense now. I've read enough research and I understand enough now that all of it makes sense. Before I could just blame myself and feel like I was just a up. And yeah, I got distracted and yeah, I took medication, but everything else was just me failing as a person, like failing to be a proper human being, I guess. And now it all makes sense.
Before we continue learning about the world of ADHD,
it was really hard for me when I realized at 31 that I was no longer the person who had so much potential. I was the person who hadn't reached it.
I want to reiterate that these videos aren't intended to diagnose any condition or disorder, and I encourage anyone who feels like they may relate to any diagnosis of the guests in these videos to do some additional research and consider a proper diagnosis from a licensed professional. I also hope that topics like this one can help remind us all that due to personal circumstances, backgrounds, and experiences, each individual's world can be vastly different from our own. To see other topics I've covered, including borderline personality disorder.
You can take pills to help you focus, chat. Well, isn't that bad for you? I swear it's bad for you to take pills every day.
Are there any potentially dangerous aspects to having ADHD?
Self-control is a big part of it. It is easier to enable certain issues such as drug use or addiction or compulsive shopping.
Is there anything that helps ease your ADHD when you're experiencing symptoms that you don't want to experience?
I would get hyperactive and I remember just being told to go run outside. Just go take a run around the cul-de-sac.
Just go outside, move your body.
If my parents could get me outside doing something focused in my body, I could kind of bring myself back to the ground rather than just being stuck up here.
Are there extended periods of time where you completely forget that you have ADHD, or is it something that's kind of always there?
I have extended periods of time where I just forget everything and feel like I'm a little alien rat child wandering around a corporeal plane.
Right.
Do you not see why I come up with these conspiracy theories, chat?
Hi Sliker, I'm in a wheelchair and I find it hard to fit in and I'm pretty lonely, but I just wanted to say I love your streams and you always cheer me up.
I got you, bro. I love you, man. I'm sorry to hear about that, bro.
I don't know if that's ADHD or what.
I don't know if you ever forget it. I mean, for me, it's always been something that's been with me, so it's just how I know the world. It's not as much like, do I forget, as much as it is, can I catch myself doing what I would do with ADHD?
So therefore, it's kind of always
Don't
there.
blame ADHD on
always
everything.
You're always
Listen,
trying to fill.
you can, obviously you can't, you can, but not on everything, because my actions, who I am right now, is ADHD. Who you see now, the way I speak and my streams are ADHD. They are, bro. Do you not see me fucking talk shit on my fucking stream? Do you know what I mean, bro? Do you not see me like, what do you mean not true balling? How the fuck do you, the people that stupid are the people that say it's not true because they want to be like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to be like negatively bad. You know? You can't say it's not when you're not me. You can't say that, bro. Taking a shit ADHD. No. Like I said, what you see on stream is ADHD. Like what you see. And obviously I'm not saying when I shit and shit is ADHD, you know? That's a stupid thing. You can't say like taking a shit is ADHD. That's got nothing to do with ADHD. You know what I mean? My attitude. You know, my attitude. What you see right now, this attitude is ADHD.
Filter.
But it can be controlled. It can definitely be controlled. It's just my wordings is hard. My words are stupid. The way I say sometimes, the way I word things is stupid. They're not very smartly compressed. You know what I mean?
Yourself a little bit through the lens of,
I even diagnosed,
I have ADHD.
yes.
I better reel this in.
Yep.
Do you know if ADHD is something that you develop or something that you're born with?
ADHD is highly genetic, like highly. If you have ADHD, it's very likely that one of your parents had undiagnosed ADHD, and that's a lot of how people find out. There are a lot of adults with ADHD that don't realize that's what they have.
And then their kids get diagnosed And then they start thinking.
I also have a theory that a lot of the people who are like, ADHD doesn't exist, like that's not a thing, or everybody has ADHD, or
my
like
parents
that's
don't
just
believe
being
that.
normal. I'm like, have you gotten checked out? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people with ADHD don't know they have ADHD because they just think they're lazy or dumb or don't care or aren't trying hard enough or any number of other things. When they find out, there's often that, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
How do you feel about the idea that many traits associated with ADHD are advantages in some way? I mean, even now it could be like, oh, you're more creative, or back throughout history, our ancestors.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. This is a good video. Actually, really good. If you got ADHD, you should watch this because you can relate to this.
Those with ADHD were much more likely to notice
Damn, I feel
dangerous
mature.
things in the distance, to see the shiny, ripe fruit behind the tree. And there's actually some studies that were done, and they tested different people who were part of this nomadic tribe. And they were able to see that those with ADHD symptoms were actually better hunter-gatherers.
Oh, 100%. I mean, for me, in my job, it pays off handsomely because our job is forgetting the cameras in front of us and focusing on the acting, focusing on the scene, focusing on the world, putting ourselves...
How the fuck can you act with ADHD? Holy shit, that is the hardest thing. If someone gave me... The hardest thing is to even read the script and remember it. Because that shit, my brain will go somewhere else. No way will I be able to read a script. So you're going to be playing a character, and then you'll be planting the bomb on Counter-Strike and heading on to League of Legends and maybe playing Talonmane tonight. Maybe hitting Diamond 2. Maybe not. Maybe you're hitting Silver tonight and then hopping on Valorant and try and play with Zek and then maybe stream. Like, how are you meant to fucking read that shit, bro? How?
in a different place than our physical body is. And because of my ADHD, I can tune that out, no problem.
Why can you
You
focus
thrive
when
on
you
it,
play
in fact.
CSGO then?
I play characters that don't have...
I don't know. It's reading is different to playing games because I feel like you're controlling the game. You're controlling it. You know, it's two differences. You can control, but reading is different. You're reading. You're consuming too much thought. You're trying to understand the words. But then at the same time, with me, like when I was always a kid, I always loved games. I hated reading. You're a piece of shit. So when I read, I'd always just daydream. I just daydream. It wasn't my shit. Reading was just not my shit. It was just too hard to read. It was just too hard to read. It was very hard to read. I'm telling you, chat, my mum's life, it was very, very hard to read for me. Very hard. Like, I don't know, bro. Shit. I'd fall asleep. It would make me tired, bro. To the point I'll get tired because I'm like just thinking of other shit. I just think of games. And games is just easy. It's an easy thought for me. Games is not... I mean, like if it's multiplayer makes me awake. It wakens me up. If it's a storyline, but it depends on what it is, sometimes it can make me sleep.
ADHD. I
What
play
about
characters
now?
that
Still
can
the same.
stand still for hours
I
at a
can't read
time.
books.
And so it's a fun challenge to slow down and sit still and speak methodically and purposefully, because it's a game. It's a game to mirror what I've grown up watching, but not have to be that always like I thought I did when I was a kid.
Do you remember when you were diagnosed?
Timelines are really hard for me. Timelines.
Okay.
So maybe ADHD was when I was 6, but that
Like, I
might have
don't know
been
if I can
depression
blame...
at
I don't know if I... Yeah, no, mind that.
5. Oh God, I don't know.
I like how you were just the poster child of ADHD trying to answer that question right now.
Think before you speak.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I was diagnosed, I think, in kindergarten. I had to grow up a bit faster than a lot of the kids my age because dealing with the addiction counseling and learning about chemical neuroscience, all that, it was very eye-opening. And it put a lot of things in perspective, like how all the drama during high school and all that stuff is not really that important.
So as a kid, you started having to think about the way your brain works. You had to start thinking about what it could mean for your future instead of just all the video games and relationship stuff that most kids are worrying about.
As much as I wish I could have been.
So I was diagnosed when I was 12. I ended up getting diagnosed because my cousin was diagnosed with ADHD, and then they looked at my cousin's mom and was like, you have a lot of these symptoms too. And then
wait, so is
my
it like
parents looked at me
a
like,
thing that
you're
can be
a lot like
passed
your
down from
aunt. Like,
elderly?
let's take you to get checked out.
Do you
I know
take
that.
any medications or anything like that to help?
The one that worked for a long time was actually a narcolepsy medication.
How did that help?
Brain chemistry is weird. They were using it for narcolepsy, and then some ADHD people tried it, and they were like, hey, this works for me. And they were like, oh, okay, fine, let's try it for ADHD people.
I took my first
Imagine my
dose.
kids, yo, what's up, man? Yo, dad, what's up, dad? Fuck. How the fuck am I meant to control this?
Of Concerta in first grade, and then up until 7th grade I was on that, and then I did the neurotherapy, and they're like, this is kind of messing with your head a little bit, and I personally enjoy not being on drugs like that. It made a huge difference for me. I like who I am without that, but I'm starting to realize that it's not such a bad thing, because especially trying to focus nowadays, I'm trying Adderall again, and took the first pill and immediately felt reminiscent of that time, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this.
It must be hard though for you, because you have to constantly have that internal battle of, do I just want to feel like myself despite myself being easily distracted and whatnot, or do I want to be able to focus and kind of not like who I am when I'm on this drug?
And that's
I hated
also
it, dude.
a question of,
I
should
felt
I
like
have the willpower?
when I felt like these guys, it wasn't Adderall. When I felt like these guys gave me these pills, I felt like the government was trying to. But I was a conspiracy theory in this, man. I felt like the government was trying to poison me. You know.
Power to be able to
I was
focus
young. I was like
myself.
15.
Like, is that just me being lazy, or is that actually because there's something chemically different about my brain than yours? Which
Right.
the answer is yes, there is something chemically different.
I was given a prescription for Ritalin. It was like, okay, she has ADD, give her Ritalin. And the first time I took this pill, I remember thinking it was like putting on glasses for the first time and realizing I could see.
How did that feel, seeing the world in a different
Wait, chill out. It was been a while. I need to take this drug.
It was
You
amazing.
need to give me this drug.
My brain was calmer. I didn't have absolute chaos swirling around in my brain. I could focus on what I wanted to focus on instead of what my brain wanted me to focus on. And I even could make friends. I started doing better socially too. I started feeling more confident, and it helped a lot.
What about some of the lesser known symptoms of ADHD, like rejection sensitive dysphoria?
Rejection sensitive dysphoria is a term that was coined by Dr. William Dodson based on the fact that we tend to be very sensitive to rejection, which is thought to be part of emotional dysregulation in general. It's not just that we're really sensitive to rejection, it's also that we are really quick to frustration and anger. We're really quick to excitement as well. We feel emotions really strongly because our brains don't really regulate them well.
And do you think that that's inherently part
See that fireworks
of
chat? That's
ADHD, or do you
creative
think that
minds.
any part of that is growing up and being rejected by so many people because of your traits associated with ADHD can amplify that?
The actual rejection sensitivity is heightened, I think, because of the experiences with rejection that we have. But this is kind of new. We need to do more research on this to really fully understand it.
How do you wish our society would perceive and treat those with ADHD?
I wish that society understood that having ADHD means we really are working off of a different operating system. Our brains work differently. So you can't expect somebody with ADHD to behave the way that somebody without ADHD would behave. I wish people
Right.
would let go of the idea that you should be able to, because we don't know enough about the brain, and we don't know what someone should be able to do because they're not us.
Wow.
These-
bro. Wow. You see, ADHD was kicking in while watching this video, bro. For some reason, do you know what? Let me tell you something what happened just then. I wasn't even listening. My brain was just thinking of chat exposed me of watching Amaranth yesterday. You see, that's the brain. That's my brain of like that's what happens, bro. I'm like, oh shit, like yo, what the fuck?
Inc. wants to know how you deal with the internal fatigue.
No,
of
Erica,
masking.
it was like you know when you go across. Yeah, and I watch girls. And what? I'm joking. You know, like when you go through your followers list, Ezzy, and you just like click on them and just see what they're up to.
and that fear of unmasking.
Masking is when you try and suppress your natural state of being and your symptoms so that you can fit in. I'm really lucky that since I have this YouTube channel called How to ADHD, I don't have to mask in my daily life, hardly at all. And I've done that in social situations too. If I feel like my excitement and exuberance gets shut down, I kind of check out. I can't do it. And some people are better at it than others. Some people are really good at masking. But it's, to me, so draining that I'd rather not be there than have to pretend that I'm something I'm not.
Ezra wants to know how discouraging it is to hear adults say things like, oh, they have so much potential, but they're just not applying themselves.
It hurts so bad to hear that, because it feels, when someone tells you you're wasting your potential or you have so much potential, it makes you feel like, even though you're not living up to their standards, it makes you feel like you're wrong for that, which is inaccurate. You are the only one who can judge your own potential. You are the only one who can, live up to your own expectations. And you have to accept yourself for where you are and where you get to. And if that's not all the way to the top of your expectation list and it's only here, that's fine. And maybe you'll get here one day. And if you don't, that's okay.
It can be really hurtful because then you go your whole life trying to
Actually,
be the person you're supposed to
listen,
be.
Listen. I swear on my mum's life. Work back then, before streaming, was still chill. Obviously, before I moved to my new store, it was still chill. I swear on my mum's life, it was still chill. So my expectations, that was the highest expectations of my life. I swear on my mum's life, that was the highest expectations of my life to ever hit. I never thought I'd ever hit anything or exceed that limit, bro. I thought that was the highest for me, chat. You do not understand, chat. You don't. My whole family celebrated when I got a sales assistant job. My whole family. My sister came. She was in China. They all celebrated, bro. They were all happy, bro, that I got a fucking sales assistant job.
You go your whole life trying to be the person you think
She was
you're
in
supposed to
China.
be because that's what everybody told you.
Back
are.
then, she
And
used to work in
It was
China.
really hard for me when
She
I
never lived
realized
with
at
us.
31 that I was no longer the person who had so much potential. I was the person who hadn't reached it. That was hard.
Were you able to take a moment and realize that?
I'm an
potential still
emotional
was
guy,
there?
bro. What you see on camera, obviously I'm not gonna be emotional because that's not entertaining. That's not a job. That's not what you're meant to do as a job. But I am emotional at most, chat. I'm emotional at times, like majority of family, bro, because I think of it too much. I see my parents, I see my dad's face a lot, and you see them like getting older, bro. Bro, I can't speak about it, bro. I just can't. I can't. You know what I mean, bro? It's a sensitive subject. It's a very sensitive subject, and that's why I like to be happy. Because when I'm happy, chat, it makes me forget about like these emotional things, But whatever, man.
There.
I knew all the potential was still there, but I hadn't reached it. I didn't know how to reach it, and I was out of time, or I was running out of time. I was so
When did you land
behind
that job?
in
2016.
life. And I think a lot of people with ADHD do. They feel the weight of, I'm behind, so I haven't done the things that I was supposed to do by now, so now I have to do the things I'm supposed to do now and all the things I should have already done. And we take on more and more in an effort to catch up, I think. And it doesn't go well because the same things that got in our way then are getting in our way now, and we're trying to do more. So
Yeah.
it's really hard.
Green Thing wants to know why you think so many women slip through the cracks as children in terms of getting a diagnosis.
Young
I'm not laughing at this. ADHD. Not ADHD. Everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, you blaming ADHD." I'm thinking. So yes, it is ADHD. I'm thinking of something else. All right. I don't know if I want to say it. Okay, I'm gonna say it. All right. Oh my god. This is so stupid. Okay. What I'm going to tell you guys is so stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Right. I can never work in a restaurant. I cannot work in a restaurant. Okay, there was this time I was like... You see, I want you guys to know I will never work. If you guys work in a restaurant, never buy anything from me. Okay, this is stupid. Stupid. So I was doing work experience. So I was 16. And my uncle took me in. So I was like, wow, amazing. Yeah, I like done work experience at my uncle's place. So I worked there, and I forgot I was in a takeaway. I forgot I was working in a takeaway. My brain just forgot I was like in a different realm. So this is disgusting. It's disgusting. So the frying pan was empty. My manager was in the back, right? It was a grill. So I spat on the grill, and it sizzled up. Wait for it. I was like, nah, this is sick. It's sizzling. My spit was sizzling in the grill. Like, I was like, oh shit, this is sick. So I went up to my uncle. I was like, uncle, take a look at this. He was like, what? I spat. And it was like, he smacked me on the face. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, what? He was like, you grill burgers on this. And my stupid brain, then realized. I was like, oh, shit. And then he obviously cleaned it. Luckily, there was no burgers. After that, I obviously never done it. Mum's life, I never served anyone with spit on. It was sick though, my brain. I was like looking at it. It was like pss, pss, bubbles came out. It disoriented. Is that the word? So I don't know if that's ADHD or just pure stupidity. Because I actually forgot I was in the workplace. Because then I was like, oh shit. Yeah, that's why I was laughing. So see, that's why I was laughing. Alright? Shit. That was the most stupid thing I've ever done in my fucking life. So if I ever work, I did work in a Tesco's, but I swear on my life I never done anything like that. Because that I learned from my lesson. Alright, anyway.
Fab people. Assigned female at birth people. It may manifest in spacing out.
I know that food spot. I'm getting a year's worth refund right now. Calm down, bro. He sprayed a lot of. He sprayed and wiped it and cleaned it. All right.
And just shyness. And so they go completely under the radar because it just shows up as, a shy little girl when really it's a kid struggling.
Right, because it's all internalized.
I don't know what it was. Is it ADHD? Or was it just stupidity?
Overdiagnosed because
I really don't know. I don't know. Where this brain? I don't know. It's just creative.
And so of course this little boy has ADHD. He's jumping off the walls.
And it's interesting because society does kind of encourage those young boys to be loud and rowdy and roughhouse and whatnot, and then those girls they're encouraging to be more timid, to keep more of those feelings internalized. So that probably explains why it's diagnosed differently between the two.
Because hyperactive AMAB people were...
Because I felt like I was in a different world. Anyway, I don't think I'm watching this. I can relate to this. I think I'm gonna skip it now because like the longer I watch it, the more I drift away and think of other stuff, and I don't wanna. Like suddenly I think of that, bro. It's good. It's a good thing I watched it because I felt like a relatable video. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like it's good to see that people say like they're hyperactive with ADHD. So it's not just me, bro. At least I'm not just a weird guy.